Peace to the family. Peace, y'all. Peace, love and light. Welcome back to another build. All right, we're gonna get this one done. Tapping in a little bit earlier than normal. We got a lot to discuss. All right, so please get comfortable. Take a sip of this movie. Shout out to the family. Shout out to Cali. Y'all doing roll call? Shout out to Cali. Where y'all tapping in from? Fuck it, let's do a roll call. Shout out to the family. Live water. I mean, I got my smoothie in a water bottle, but normally, I shout out to East Flatbush, shout out to B-More, shout out to LA, shout out to my brother Wild West, Los Angeles. We still got to get up and do this live. Shout out to Inglewood, shout out to San Fran. Shout out to Vancouver, shout out to Jersey, all right? Dirty Jersey, what's good? Pittsburgh, we will be in Pittsburgh soon. We working on that date as well. Shout out to Indiana. Shout out to Georgia. BX. Jamaica, Queens in the building. Was goody. Alright, BK, Louisiana. Now this is a well-rounded live. Y'all from all over the map. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Inland Empire. Alright, Riverside, San Bernardino, and all of that. West Adams, LA, the desert of Vegas, salute, Delaware, right? I'm be up there for the Book of Hove maybe next week. I think I have plans to be in New York for the 50th anniversary of hip hop. I want to go to the Yankee Stadium event, and I want to go to the event in Sedgwick, 1520 Sedgwick on April 12th. Shout out to KRS-One. I believe KRS-One is helming that event. The block party at 1520 Sedgwick is taking place on August 12th of next week. I believe that KRS-One is responsible for that. And the Hip Hop 50 situation, I think, is Rock the Bells. It's them Queens and niggas. It's either LL and Nas or just LL. Nonetheless, they're putting on a massive performance at Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium is in the Bronx and the birthplace of hip hop. And that is taking place August 11th, right? Next week. I believe it's next week, right? Next Saturday, okay. So August 11th will be Friday, and the block party is going to be on next Saturday, the 12th. And they're going to be converging on 1520 Sedgwick, which is the building that DJ Kool Herc threw a party for his sister Cindy, and it jumped off at 9 p.m. August 11th, 1520 Sedgwick, Bronx, New York. Rock the Bells. All right, there's a Rock the Bells tomorrow in Queens, but the big one would be the convergence on August 11th at Yankee Stadium. I know that's going to be a mega massive concert. You know what I'm saying? That's the one that I would like to be at. You know, so I should be pulling back up to New York next week for the festivities. Peace, my brother. All right. It's historic. You know what I mean? I need to be in the building for that, for my soul. I need to bear witness to it. I need to be there in the capacity of my journalistic self. So I have to jump back into my DeLorean and go back to P-More. That's who I was when I was a reporter. I started my career as a journalist September of 2001, right in time for 9/11. I actually got hired for the job September 5th, and then 9/11 happened, so that was my beat, you know what I'm saying? And I was already into metaphysics at that time. I was already a student of Dr. Valentine and Bobby Hemmett. So I infiltrated, the world of hip-hop journalism and started writing what would amount to, at that time, to be conspiracy theories that have now proven themselves. So I was what you call a truther back then. I did not believe the narrative of 9/11, and I was castigated and chastised for it. I was ridiculed for it, for not going along with the program, right? But by this time, I was already indoctrinated into the fact that, and this is a beautiful segue. I love how these things line themselves up. By September 11th, 2001, I was already engaged in the criminal justice system, and I was utilizing things that was taught to me by my elders, the elder Moors, about how to defend myself in court, and the fact that the courts were sham and the government was de facto. All these things, and the U.S. was a corporation, and all of this stuff that is trending on TikTok right now, that people are divulging the secrets of, and a lot of people are having aha moments. I was introduced to this stuff, not because I was looking for it, you know what I'm saying? It was out of need and necessity. I had caught 2 cases in 2000, 2001, I think it was. I had caught a case, and then I had went to make a play so I could pay for a lawyer in that case, and I ended up catching another case. So now I'm assed out. I got 2 cases. I don't got lawyer money, and I got my hands tied because I cannot dabble in criminality anymore, because now I got a bad streak, you know what I'm saying? And the thing about, my initial run is that I was known for I never got caught until I got caught. And when I got caught, I couldn't stop getting caught. You know what I'm saying? Peace, God. So I had to recalibrate myself and say, how am I going to defend myself? You know what I mean? In these 2 cases, I was looking at 15 years at each case, and I couldn't afford a lawyer. So I had to go on my bag. And then a friend of mine, a brother named Rikers, who I used to be, in the streets with, he was a Decepticon. We was G-Force at the time. And he was the bridge, because our clique didn't necessarily get along with Decepticons, but we always had friends in between that were like emissaries and go-betweens, and Rikers definitely was one of them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Rikers was one of them, and Rikers had just got out of a gun case, and he was like, yo, they got these brothers out in Harlem, they're called the Moors. And I had heard about Moors before, but not to the degree that he was explaining it to me, because Rikers was also a Mason. He was the only brother that I knew was a Mason that was our age, and he used to slide, like, Rikers used to get out of all kind of shit, right? Throwing the signs in court. He was like one of those Masons that you hear about, right? Rikers was slick, you know what I'm saying? Rikers was a smooth criminal. Hence the fact his name was Rikers, and he never been to Rikers Island. So Rikers was like, yo, I need you to come to these classes on Wednesdays and meet these elders, these Moors, that can give you some pointers and some tips so you could defend yourself in court. And I was like, wait, what? And I had always had an affinity in court to understand what was taking place. I was always a good litigator. I always asked the best questions. I always kind of knew things that my lawyers didn't know. So it wasn't far-fetched for me. And I had an experience in the criminal justice system leading up to that that was bugged out, right, to say the least. I had been in situations, and hopefully Red is on the line. When Red caught his first case, he was 16. And it was in the Superior Court of Queens, New York. And before the judge, whose name was Goldstein, before he sentenced my brother for robbery, this was a robbery case, he requested that both parents be present. You know what I'm saying? And then my mother and my father came to court. And Mama Pill, she'll attest to this if you ask her. You know what I'm saying? You'll never catch my father, so you can't even ask him. But, you know, Mama Pill, she'll attest to it. And she, this judge was like, sat my brother down, and he was like, instead of giving you, you know, these 10 years that are being asked for, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you a break, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm gonna give you a break. He was like, do you know the history of your last name? You know what I'm saying? He's like, do you know who you are? Do you know any information about your background, your ancestors? Do you know who you come from? And he gave him a 15-minute speech about, look, me sending you up the river's not going to be on my bad conscience. You're not going to fuck up my good name and my fraternal connections. He's like, I'm not going to scorch one of you guys and be responsible for it. You're going to take this opportunity to wake the fuck up to who you are, what your assignment is. So I've always had these situations where these men will break rank and like cross the aisle to get us information that was life-saving. I remember we had got locked up in it was in Boston. It was Massachusetts. It was Plymouth, Massachusetts. And these dudes had on the wigs with the stockings and all of that, with the buckles on it. They looked like pilgrims. They had the Whittemore wigs on and shit like that. And a bunch of us had got locked up, right? It was like 7 or 8 of us. We had got snatched up. And the judge or the magistrate, right, he only released me and my brother, you know what I mean? And it was on the account of our last names. And then, you know, the prevailing conversation amongst my peer group, amongst my friends, was that, oh, you niggas got a rabbit foot in your back pocket. Because every time that we would get caught, you know what I'm saying, these particular magistrates or these judges, especially the ones that was fraternal, they would show us all kind of favor, right? Based on the fact that our surname was Moreland, and whatever was in our file, you know what I'm saying, these people were recognizing it, and they was making full acknowledgments of it. And they was making every attempt that they could to get a message across to us without just blurting it out, right? I say all that to say that when it was time to defend myself, I wasn't running from the opportunity because I knew that there was something going on in the background. And I'm all into mystique and mystery. This is not just a new version of me. I've always been this person. So even up until that point, I had prevailing theories in my head that we was God, right? And that, you know what I'm saying, there was nobody superior to who we are as a people, not just us as individuals, you know what I'm saying? And that was instilled in us by Dr. Sabi at an early age, that he was like, no white man has anything superior to you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not inferior to nobody. And that comes from his earlier teachings, right? Dr. Sabi was a member of the Nation of Islam. Dr. Sabi stood with Elijah on many occasions. You feel me? That is who Dr. Sabi was. That was Dr. Sabi's background. The black man is God. You know what I'm saying? So he taught us that, and we were able to stand on that. So come September 10th, I'm going to court, and Red just popped in the building, and he'll attest to this as well. Red just came from boot camp. He came from a program called Shock, which is a boot camp that you got to go to so you could avoid jail time in New York. They send you to military boot camp, and they program you. They program you to be a soldier, to be lockstep, and to be a soldier is like to be a patriot. So you terrified. You are endowed to this country, and you really think that they shit don't stink, and you get indoctrinated. You are a soldier in their army, and that's the condition that he came back to us in. And here I am, fighting against the government, right? Utilizing these tactics. I'm a lawyer. I'm defending myself in 2 separate cases in 2 separate counties for 2 separate charges, right? And this is on September 10th, 2001. I destroyed the magistrate, and I destroyed these proceedings with my paperwork and my demonstration to match my paperwork. And I've told this story multiple times, and I repeat it here just to put it on record. I was told to state my name for the record, open up the proceedings. Normally, as you know, people who have dealt with the right form of Morris information know, you never answer a question that's levied to you by the prosecution, right? Because now you're giving them jurisdiction. You got to answer a question with a question. You got to play these games because it's all dealing with grammatical syntax, right? And granting permission, acknowledgement of the other side grants them permission, and then they could proceed because they've established jurisdiction, but they're established in jurisdiction about a fiction, and now you are participating in that fiction. So you have to deflect all of their questions with questions, and it's one hell of a game that you really have to be mentally astute to play. I had threw a monkey wrench in the program with this one because they said state your name for the record, and I spelt my name out, right? And what does that do? If I said my name, if I said Paul Moreland, they would have typed my name in all caps. But since I spelt my name out, I'm robbing them of the opportunity to put me on record as a fiction. And once I did that, what does that do? It automatically activates my paperwork. My paperwork is saying I'm God. And you can't prosecute God. You don't have the jurisdiction to prosecute God. That's like, nigga, do you know who I am? That's what my paperwork said. Now, everything that's in my paperwork comes online because now I'm entered in the record as a flesh and blood human being for the first time. One of the very few, right, that are going to have their paper and turned into the public record as a living human being, right? So I do that shit. They send the bailiffs to jump on me, okay? The judge is throwing things at me, or the magistrate, he's throwing things at me so I can stop. Right? That's how disturbed the courtroom is. Like, he's screaming at, what the fuck are you doing? You can't spell your name. This is not public school. I'm like, capital P, lowercase a, lowercase u, lowercase capital M. I'm spelling this shit like I'm in 2nd grade, and they throwing things at me, and the bailiffs are running down and grabbing me and, you know, assaulting me, for lack of a better term. But I did never stop spelling my name. Right? They take me in the back, attempting to pull me up on, what's those charges? You know what that shit is. What they be like, Dan, you know what the charge is. Contempt of court. Contempt.
I like how you just look at me and get the answer.
Yeah, I look at my baby and I get answers.
That's that telepathy, man.
That's that telepathy. Even I know that she ain't got the answers all, but it helps me refocus. Right? It's yeah. Check that shit out, y'all. Contempt of court, right? And I told you when I do war with these people, I don't fight fair because it's not a fair fight. So I used to go in them courts and I would do my juju first before I went into court. Yeah, nigga, the paperwork is sorcery. Okay, so Don't get puritanical on me about what the rules are versus what the rules ain't, nigga. There's nothing that I spared when I'm going to war with these people fighting for my life. So I had a chicken foot wrapped in my satin red cloth in my left pocket, as well as I had the magistrate and the DA's name written on a brown piece of paper bag under my left foot, nigga, with Proverbs written on it. Okay? All right? And I had invisible ink on the paperwork. Okay? And I had invisible ink on the paperwork. And I will go and do ceremonial ritual in front of the courthouse before the shit even opened up. So it was a little bit of everything. But when they took me in the back and they emptied the contents of my pocket and they put the shit through the x-ray machine and they saw the chicken foot, they was like, open that cell, because the white shirt came to the back and they told him what was going on. The captain, if you will. He said, open that cell up. He said, you get that shit and get it the fuck out of this building and you leave and don't come back. And I did exactly what they said. And I was out of there under 15 minutes. And when I walked out, and Retta tell you, they was all standing around the judge or the magistrate, and he was heeled over, red as a beet, heaving like this. And they're standing over him and they're patting his back and they're telling him it's gonna be all right. No, it's not. No, it's not. And the next day the towers came down. And I'm gonna leave it like that. And what happens is that my birth certificate became a toxic derivative in the overall complex market of what they used to bundle our birth certificates as securities and sell them on the open market. That's why 7 years later, the financial system crumbled, right? And they said, oh, these are toxic derivatives based on mortgages, but they didn't tell you that your birth certificates was in there too. And they didn't tell you that when a nigga like me, right, puts himself on record as a living human being and God, right, did that fuck their whole system up. And then hence the fact, you know what I'm saying, all of this shit was birthed into whatever it's been birthed into. So we lived in a post 9/11 world, and I'm also preferencing and saying all of that to say this is the time when I was introduced to a lot of different concepts. 2001 is when I also, via Rikers, I was leaving Rikers' crib. Rikers plays a very instrumental role with this because Rikers ends up writing for Four Corners newspaper, of which I became I started out as a reporter in September of 2001. I made my way to an assistant editor, and then I made my way to chief editor. So I was the top, you know, I don't even like saying it. I was a instrumental member of a dream team at this newspaper called Four Corners. Rikers was writing at the paper. We brought on Black Dot, started writing at the paper. You know what I'm saying? And we had a street team that was mean. We would get on the trains at 7 in the morning and sell bundles of newspapers for $1 and $1.50. And you had to sell your 100 bundle. You couldn't come back to the office, nigga, until you sold your bundles. Feel me? So I'm writing the paper, I'm editing the paper, and I'm hitting the block to sell the paper. And when I do interviews, I gotta transcribe them. So these are the interviews that I, like when I said I interviewed Kanye in 2002, right? That was a 3-hour interview. I had to transcribe every single fucking word from a recorder and physically type it out and put pictures in it, right? So now I'm in the driver's seat because I'm in media and I'm able to tell my truth. I'm seeping information, and we're selling our newspaper around New York City, but specifically at bodegas next to projects, next to housing, you know what I'm saying, projects in New York City, and the papers would sell out. So we're educating the hood, and we're infiltrating the hood with information and conversations that people are typically not having about because this is when they started the campaign against Islam. So we were a main feature battling that narrative, standing up for Islam. You know what I'm saying? Via the newspaper, we're standing up against the lies about 9/11. We're explaining to people the relationship between this government and Osama bin Laden. We're explaining this relationship between Dick Cheney and Halliburton. We're just poking all of the lies. We're just explaining this shit like, how can a fiery crash burn down a building, but a plastic ID survive, right? Like, just stupid shit that they was throwing at people who are emotional so they can't see the forest for the trees. But I'm already in the mindset that this government is telling lies and they're hiding things from the people. They're not even telling people there's so much that I'm learning about the lie. And I'm appalled. But now I got to play the game to a degree because now it's post 9/11 and I'm going back to court and this shit look like how Donald Trump court looked. I got 16 DAs in my courtroom now. And they treated me like I'm public enemy number one. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the chopping block, you know? I'm like, goddamn, they're going to send me to Guantanamo? Like, how's this shit going to play out? Because they was acting very aggressive, like we was terrorists or something, just because we're exposing their lies. And they're attempting to launch a crusade. And I'm dealing with Moorish science, so I'm learning about the crusades at the same time. So I'm taking this shit personal. Like, oh, is this about us? Is this about me? Like, what's going on here? And with all of that pressure, I have to go against the grain and stand on my 2 feet in order to secure my freedom, because this is when I am planting the seeds for what will become what I conceive to be the conscious community, because now I'm pulling all of these pieces together and I'm standing on truth and standing on business. This is the shit we was going up against in order to create what is now the conscious community that, people are just squandering, you know what I'm saying, their access to the shit that they didn't fight for this. You inherited this shit to come in here and fuck it up. You know what I mean? I'm by myself. I don't have no precedent. I don't got no big homie in this matter. The elders backed off. They fell into the motherfucking fold and it's like, you gotta go out here and fight this fight. You know what I'm saying? Because they was terrified. Oh, shit. Nobody knew what was taking place. You get snagged and you get squeezed by the motherfucking CIA. They don't know if you're going to mention their name and implicate them. Because the only thing that the courts want to know is who's writing these documents. Who's preparing this paperwork. Where are you getting this information from? You know what I'm saying? And I can't tell nothing. So, I say all that to say that from the same mind that made an observation about the government and their inability to tell the truth. And mind you, and Reda will verify this, after I beat them, okay, they approached me with an offer, right, to get on the team. Them niggas said, look, we will pay for your education for you to get the bar, right? For you to get, go to the bar, pass the bar, get your bar, certification to become one of their lawyers. They wanted me to be gang. I've had so many opportunities from these people on many occasions to flip on you niggas, right, for a pretty payout. But then we get criticized because we have not taken full advantage of everything that this game has to offer. And I'm like, yeah, from the entrepreneurial side, like, yeah, nigga, I never got monetized on YouTube because I was banging on that shit since 2007, before they even monetized shit. So they been told niggas you ain't getting monetized. I never had a page monetized on Facebook because I was banging on that shit since January 1st, 2007, for any motherfucker was on there with information. So yeah, a nigga done missed out on a lot of things, but you know what my real motherfucking payday was? The shit that they was dangling. That was the real payday. If it's all about the money, if it's all about the bag, if niggas is only in this shit to cash out and get some bread, You feel me? So when I see the doofus niggas popping up saying, oh, they millionaires now, I know what that's about. I know what that's about. I know that you've been bought and sold, right? Everybody get to visit. Everybody gets to visit. And if you ain't get to visit, my nigga, then they're really not concerned about you. You know what I'm saying? And you got to get your information. It's not biting. You got to go back. You're not dangerous enough. So, yeah, man, you got to take the bitter with the sweet. And sometimes people be so judgmental and they don't know your situation. They don't know your narrative. They don't know your story. They don't know what this shit was like. You know what I'm saying? Initially, when there was only a handful of us, and you know, it didn't spread like a contagion. Them niggas could pull up right to 125th and see who's who and what's what. It was only but so many of us. Now there's thousands, and that's a beautiful thing because we've always dreamed of these times. But the integrity factor has to be there. I seen some shit yesterday that was so disheartening. And it was a member of this community who, you know, he hijacked platforms and people thought that this nigga was the one because he made the most noise, right? This nigga got washed by a white boy the other day, and this shit was so disheartening, especially with me having this conversation about universal understanding and and, you know, the fact that we have to get past our terrestrial traumas of race. This was bad though, and this was bad. I seen some shit that was so disheartening. It was so hurtful. It was so like, is this where we at? Is this where the game came? Is this where we at in the game? Like, gang, is this what's going on? Bad, the worst. What happened? A nigga got mercilessly washed. Like, I never seen a washing take place like this. Like, this nigga was, you know, y'all look at this nigga like a Rottweiler. He was a puppy. He got just demolished by a C-level competition. C-level. Like, the nigga never even had to show his hand. I don't even know what this nigga is working with because he never had to show his hand. The other nigga just discombobulated in front of the whole world. And it was not his first time doing it. It's not his first time doing it. And it's embarrassing, especially for the young niggas, because it's like, is this your king? This the nigga that you niggas been modeling your career after for the last 8 or 9 years? 7 or 8 years. This the nigga that y'all say is the truth. This who y'all been modeling yourselves. This is not how it's supposed to look. This ain't how it's supposed to go down. So I'm seeing so many people from that era, because consciousness got like 3 epochs already. And I'm, you know, we have to accredit, let's say 4, because the shit that came before me, I have to acknowledge it, even if I wasn't actively involved. So in the 90s, we knew through hip-hop, right? Because, you know, it would be remiss of me to say, oh, consciousness started in the 2000s. Then I'm like, well, what the fuck was the NOI standing on? What was 5% standing on? What was the Ansar community standing on? Right? All of that is consciousness. All of it predates us. But what we are making an observation of 2001 is the consolidation of consciousness, where all of these groups now are coming together under one unified house. And there was an understanding that we were doing that. You feel me? So that is when we were being intentional about unifying a lot of different houses. This is when we were being intentional about creating media for consciousness to broaden the message and to get it out. And this is when we also started merging hip-hop themes. Even though we know that consciousness and hip-hop was married in the 90s, it was undifferentiated because of what, had happened to it when, let's say, the leadership, let's say when the 5%ers had it in a stronghold, it was very undifferentiated. You could not tell ratchetness from consciousness or ratchetness from righteousness. Peace, Shaka Bars. So it was pretty much undefined. You know what I'm saying? It was not identifiable before the 2000s when it was like, yo, we doing this. And then in the 2000s and 2001, this is when the esoteric occult conversation took the forefront of consciousness. Prior to that, let's say it might have been the Pan-Africans, right, who were having a global conversation about, a diasporic conversation about black identity, right? That was the prevailing conversation or sentiments in consciousness leading up to the 2000s, right? It was about black consciousness, black power, right? Pan-African themes and topics. Post 2000 and 2001, it takes more of a occultist, esoteric leaning. So now people are more interested in the mystery and the metaphysics of consciousness, right? Our unlimited potentiality, the things that was more mystique and mystery dealing with consciousness, right? And then this really introduces or highlights the conversation around extraterrestrials, which is really what I want to speak about today, right? So if you don't want to be here for this conversation, this is your opportunity to tap out. And I'm not going to go off the deep end. I'm going to have a very practical conversation, right? It's not going to be dealing with details that are going to be requiring that much imagination. I just need you to use your rational mind, right? Because some people are still stuck in this spell, and hopefully we can help shake you up out of that so you can have your faculties of thought to yourself, so you can think a unique thought. You can be responsible for the shit that you're conjuring up in your own mind, right? You can hear your own voice in your own head, so these conversations that you have, you can reach your own conclusions, and it's not me telling you what time it is. Feel me? So how does that happen? All right, well, anytime you're gonna, in 2000 and 2001, anytime that you're going to expose yourself to conspiracy theories, those conspiracy theories are going to lead you into a conversation about Nazis, and any conversation around Nazis or the CIA is going to include a conversation around craft, right? Because the military industrial age starts, right, in 1945, post them dropping the bomb, right? Of which the anniversary of that is coming up in a few days. No, matter of fact, it's today, right? I know August 6th is the day that they dropped the bomb, but they dropped 2 bombs. So is it the 6th and the 8th? It wasn't the 12th. It was but I don't know if it was on today's Obama's born day. I know the 6th was one of the days that I know that it wasn't 2 days later on 8/8. I know it wasn't. Yeah, that's wow whack. Huh? Nah, they ain't shut it off, but they interfering with the feed. Yeah, let me know. Is it clear? Is it still tweaking or frozen? All right, so we back on. So August 6th, they dropped the bomb, right? They say that 2 things started, okay? That starts the beginning of the military industrial age, right? Which is called the technosphere. The technological military age begins the day that they dropped that bomb, right? But what also begins, they said, this is when the interaction with the crafts started happening. This is when, even though they have evidence that the crafts, there was sightings prior to that, they're saying this is what started the interaction. This is what started the intervention. This is what started the interfacing with entities from different dimensions who had to pull up on this bitch like, hold up, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Do y'all not know that you're finna fuck up the entire balance of the galaxy? Right? You didn't even think to ask permission to drop this shit? So let me ask you this. And this is gonna punch the hole in this shit, right? How can they drop a bomb without asking the permission of the Vatican to do it? Case in point. And this is just pulling everybody's culpability in perspective, right? If you the whole Vatican and you're governing the universe, right, with the dictates that says, oh, the God is in charge and this is the universe that he created and the Pope is the vicegerent on the planet, right, of God himself. There's a delicate balance to this planet, mind you, and we've already explained this on plenty of occasions, that the biggest astronomers on the planet is the Vaticans, right? They're the biggest astronomer. If the etymology of the word Vatican means astronomy or the seer, okay? They have the biggest observatory called Lucifer, right? That is controlled by them. It's based in Arizona, but it's controlled by the Vatican. It's called Lucifer. So we know that they are into astronomy, right? I put an article up the other day about Pope Francis. He addressed the young astronomers, right, and spoke to them glowingly about pursuing astronomy and how important it is. And they are the astronomers of the future, right? So if all of that, and you understand that the Vatican observes the cosmos, and they are in charge for the order of the cosmos, right, as it has been consecrated under contract, right, with the Creator, how can America go create a bomb, an atom bomb, right, that is going to disturb the natural balance and the order of the galaxy, and you didn't test to see what the ramifications would be galactically for setting off an atomic bomb, right, in the continuum of time and space? You think that there's no back channel beef, right? Come on, man. Thank you. You think that there's no back channel beef, right, with the Vatican that says, yo, who the fuck gave y'all permission to just drop a bomb like that and offset the delicate balance of the fucking galaxy and the universe? You don't know what the ramifications are on a subtle energy level, energetically, because we have a tendency as a Western world to only think the shit that we see with our physical eyes is the only thing that's moving and popping. Because the Western world does not acknowledge the Eastern world or the Eastern hemisphere, right? Which is dealing with spirituality or things that you can't see, or the quantum realms. So how you gonna fuck up the quantum balance, the delicate quantum balance of this universe that is connected by strings and threads, right? You just gonna drop a bomb unless, right? Because the Pope was blessing the bombs that Mussolini was sending to Ethiopia during the war, right? So it's not far-fetched to conceive that the Pope also was blessing the bombs to be dropped on the Japanese Empire, who they consider to be godless anyway. These are not Christians. Feel me? These are not Christians. And they showed it in Oppenheimer, the movie, and it was very key that they had to show a scene with Harry Truman, the 33rd president, with his Secretary of State, who was a man named... Damn, what was this dude's name? I want to say... Because they, you know, they interchange the name James and Jim, right? So I think his name's supposed to be... Oppenheimer is the name of this movie about the atomic bomb. And the atomic bomb, the two of them are called Fat Boy and Little Man. And I liken that to, these are the atom bombs that preceded the other twin pillars falling in our reality called Tupac and Biggie. Fat Boy and Little Man. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother conversation. But Jim Baker, no, not Jim Baker, because I think that's the dude that's in charge now in one of these administration. It might have been Carter, either James Carter or Jim Carter. One of them shits. I'll Google it and come back and spin the block with you. But his press secretary was an avowed member of the Ku Klux Klan. He was a Grand Dragon, right? He's a Dixiecrat. He comes from the South. And he made a famous speech that he said, the only thing worse than niggers are yellow kooks, right? He had a vehement distaste for Asian Americans. If you understand the 1900s, right? This was the year that America fought against the yellow man. The 1800s when he fought the red man. The 1600s was when he fought the black man. The 1900s was when he fought the yellow man. Let's take a look at it. Korea, Japan, Laos, Vietnam, right? And I'm sure I'm missing some. Cambodia. Okay? The 1900s is when he fought the yellow man. So the advisor to the president, who was a Philippines, yes, Ku Klux Klan Grand Dragon for the 33rd President Truman, who wasn't even supposed to slide into the presidency. They slid him in. It's a whole controversy about how Truman got elected from the Democratic National Convention. I think Teddy Roosevelt had just died, and they unexpectedly, and they slid in Truman as the 33rd, and he also was a 33rd degree Mason, right? But his right hand, who was a Klansman, was the one responsible for egging him on to drop the bomb. Now, according to them, they didn't have no consultants. It was only the Klansmen telling Truman. He said that they didn't tell nobody else, right? It was top secret, and he approved for the bomb to be dropped on August 6th. So that changes the geopolitical climate for the planet and the galaxy, because this is when they start having intervention. So from the 1940s, right, of which Eisenhower was warning the country about the military-industrial complex is too powerful and strong to contain if you give them, indiscretionable power. You're never going to be able to catch up with them. They're just too much of a shadow government, dark force. From the 40s, and y'all can do the math, all the way up until now, right? That's almost 80 years, right? To the other day, them having congressional hearings about the presence, okay, of alien life forms on this plane of existence, and the fact that this country has been in bed with them for a long time. So either one or two things are true, right? And both of them are paradigm shifting, especially around the political discourse that we're having as a country, because they're prosecuting a sitting ex-president for housing state secrets, right? But when are we going to prosecute the government for keeping state secrets against the people? And why are the people not qualified to know things that could potentially be existential threats to humanity and their existence? And if not existential threats, then you are holding back things that can potentially be existential gifts and benefits to humanity if that's the case, right? So either it's going to help us or it's going to hurt us. But as citizens of this great republic, quote unquote, we should have every right to know what's taking place, because these aliens are not just visiting this planet to speak to politicians, right? So what's the happenings? There's either one or two things taking place. Either your government is participating with the greatest cover-up ever known to mankind, or some of the most smartest, highly credentialed people in government are colluding to tell a lie on a level that's so unprecedented that they're putting their life, their legacy, and limb on the line, right? To conspire, to tell a lie, to put us in game. And then if that's the case, then we need to be hitting people with back smacks, because we just came out of a situation 2 or 3 years ago where we got put in game by the highest members of government, right, in medicine and science, to put us in game, to put the jab in us. And they needed a back smack then. And they still need a back smack. There's a lingering back smack that's out there. Right? There's a floating back smack out there that's just looking to catch somebody. And if we don't get a handle on this or see this thing for what it is, then you're going to miss the point on any and everything else that's being told to you, especially, that revolves around these concepts called conspiracy. Right? Which one do you think is still standing that in the last 5 or 6 years hasn't even been given some credence or has crumbled? Either it's been given credence or it's crumbled. What conspiracy is still standing that you still want to know about that's doubtful? Right? So a monumental UFO scandal is looming, because what they're saying is that if what this dude is saying is true, Mr. Grooch, right, and he has been vetted, right? He has been vetted and he has been peer reviewed by his constituents, and the people that know him vouch for him, right? The people in upper tiers of government that know him vouch for him. They say that he's credentialed, he's a hitter, and there's no reason that he will be putting his life and his career on the line to lie in this particular fashion, right? Because it does not match his jacket. It wouldn't make sense. So they're like, damn, if this dude of all dudes is the one that's saying it, then we should be compelled to listen, because this is a straight shooter. This is what they're saying amongst his peer group, amongst his colleagues, amongst the people who are critiquing and vetting him. And then he has substantiating backup from over 24 individuals who are also highly credentialed people, right? And these individuals are the ones who have the firsthand experience. He's a whistleblower who has not necessarily had firsthand experience, but he has had dialogue with over half a dozen people who have given him the secrets. And then you compound that with what Dr. Stephen Greer is saying and the evidence that he's been bringing forth in his disclosure programs, right? It's either the people don't know, don't care, don't want to know, or can't figure out how they should pay their bills, so they don't have time for it. But neither can Lizzo. And niggas got time for that. And every fucking thing else the niggas is distracted by. So the single most important conversation ever to take place in the history of humanity is on the table right now, and motherfuckers is ignoring it. This changes everything. And the institution is most uncomfortable. This most uncomfortable right now is the Vatican. It is the church. Because this is the existential threat that changes everything when it comes to the spell that they have on the people. And ironically, in this particular incident, they said that the Vatican has been quiet and has not spoken, but they've also divulged that they knew about it for many years. Right? So now, again, here comes the conspiracy of the cover-up. That if these major institutions had this information for over 2 decades, right, and they have not shared this information with the people, what else are they lying to you about? And also, if we are sentient beings, right, and the word sentient means feeling, but the way that we receive information is by light, right? Intelligence, information, everything is tethered and it moves according to information. Then there's information that's willingly being held from us. So then the government is denying our ability and right to grow as a people by denying us light. Hence the fact that they won't think twice about blocking the sun out. They have already blocked your sun out by housing and containing information that can be beneficial to your growth and development, but they don't want to share it because it threatens their political structure. That's not a fair trade-off, and that's not the job that authority has in the place of authority. You are misusing and abusing your authority by choosing what information reaches the people or not. And I'm going to go further to say that if there's shit that's top secret, then you already admitting that this information that you are deciding that we cannot, right? That we cannot entail or integrate into our system to become better beings. We are human beings, not human be. We're beings, right? Which means that the process of our evolution is still happening. We're being what we're ultimately going to become, but we're not that thing yet. What do we need? We need water and light. Just like you water a plant. So if you are denying the people the light that's necessary for them to grow, then you are you're stunting the growth of humanity. And you should be brought up on all kind of crimes for that. Case in point. How can the Vatican have 53 miles of books underneath it, and all of that book is considered to be knowledge and light? So God is going to tell Eve and Adam not to eat from the motherfucking tree of knowledge. I got you, little niggas. Like, yeah, I'm going to piecemeal you and peace feed you the shit that you need to know, but you don't need to eat off of this bark because it has too much information. You were the first motherfucker telling us what we should and what we should not know. And that's going against the fact that you endowed us with free will to make determinations for ourselves. The first iteration or the first expression of free will, now we get castigated for it as a people who have to bear the burden of sin because this woman exercised her God-given right to exercise free will to say, nah, I'm going to choose up. Right? I'm going to listen to the serpent in my ear. She defied her husband. Hence the fact they say prostitution is the oldest vocation. They're calling Eve the prostitute. Do you not understand what's being said to you? Do you not understand? She got finessed out of her drawers by another nigga. She's a prostitute. She followed another man in a compromising position. She got prostituted. Why do you think they say prostitution is the oldest profession on the planet? They're saying that she got smutted by a nigga with an anaconda. So we got to bear that burden. But you know how many trees it takes to make books that will fill a vault that goes for 53 miles? Nigga, how many trees was that? Let's wake up from the spell. Yeah, she didn't know her box could get wet. She didn't have foreknowledge of that. And then she started feeling something leaking down her leg. And she was like, oh shit, what is this? She had a natural response to the anaconda getting stiff. And then her body had a chemical response naturally. But nobody gave her the lesson of the birds and the bees prior to that. So she got set up. She got set up by not knowing how her anatomy works anatomically. Anyway, these are the conversations that they don't want to have. These are the truths that they don't want to have. I want us to stand on business and to listen to what's being said to us at any given time so we can enforce the codes and stop being victims. They told me that I have a contract there was made a covenant with my creator, right? That supersedes all law that man can create on land, because my contract with my creator is already laid out in this list of commandments. So how am I following the laws of man to supersede that? His case in point, when I turn 18, the government gives me a rifle and sends me to war to kill. But the first commandment in the Bible says thou shalt not kill, only under excruciating circumstances. So if there's a separation of church and state, how can the state endow me to be a soldier of the state, of the country, and the country is not tethered to God? Who am I killing for? Who am I running? Who am I drilling for? Who am I running plays for? And how can you, as a country, right? Which you know, in court they say is under God. In Congress they say is under God, right? But in the army and the military they say kill them all and let God sort them out. Who's going to account for my soul being in a very dark place because I violated the first commandment? Right? And was led by temptation. What was the temptation? The fucking GI Bill. A nigga said, I could pay your tuition or get you a Dodge Charger. Nigga, that's temptation. Jesus wouldn't fall for that in the desert. Why should you? And you went over there and did these people's bidding and killed these babies, right? And killed these people and killed these civilians, all off false premises. And we found out that all of it was a lie. And you wonder why the suicide rate is so high in the military right now and people can't live with themselves. Right? Hold on. Shh. Right? U.S. Army veterans and intelligence officials, okay? An illegally overseen decades-long UFO retrieval and reverse engineering effort. 2 defense officials corroborated the broad counters of Gross's stunning claims. Gross has stated that he provided a wealth of highly classified evidence to the powerful internal investigation agencies overseeing the Department of Defense and the U.S. intelligence community, but he has not presented any such evidence publicly. However, the officials and lawmakers who have reviewed Gruch's classified evidence are taking his extraordinary allegations seriously. Right? Seriously. So amongst his people who are critics off the cuff, okay, they're saying, yo, that there's an extraordinary, his evidence leads to, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to deny. It's hard to deny. Now think about this in terms of military budgets, right? They just built the fighter for $1.7 trillion. The F-35 fighter that's already obsolete. Right? So what type of black budget are these people working with? If you can outwardly build a jet fighter for $1.7 trillion, trillion with a T, right? What type of tech is put into this shit? And they're over here playing games with you because, you know, the things that they're preparing for militaristically is not the real fight. And none of it is going to hold up to engagement with intergalactic intrusions. That's where the black budgets are going, for them to build out all of these spacecrafts that are doubling as UFOs, because we don't know the difference. We haven't been thoroughly educated. Anytime you see something metallic in the sky, nigga, that's not an ancestor. That's the U.S. government playing games. You feel me? That's the U.S. government playing games with you. And we need a thorough education before we start having these interfaces and interactions and continuously misread the room. oh, I seen a craft. No, you seen something that was sponsored by the U.S. That's a military craft. Feel me? You're going to have to know the difference, and you're going to have to know it quick. Because when it go down, it go down. And you don't want to get caught up in the mix. You don't want to be the one that's so easily fooled. Volunteering your genomes and your body for experimentation by the government. Just cosplaying aliens. Right? So the church is on the ropes. The church is suspiciously quiet, as I said, right? Because this changes everything for them. Right? It changes the dialogue. It changes the dimensions of religion on this planet. They stand to lose the most. You feel me? They stand to lose the most. So I think Stephen Greer on the Vlad TV interview said something to the degree of this is going to amount to a financial, what's the words that he used? Let's say it's a financial windfall, right? There's quadrillions of dollars on the line with this because of the hole that it blows in defense budgets, right? The holes that it blows in defense budgets, the shit that it does to it, just the upending of so many industries. Space industry is upended. The gas industry is automatically upended because they out here still playing the gas guzzler games, right? Because the trillionaires control the petrol. So they out here playing these games knowing damn well that they have superseded petrol. They don't need that no more to do nothing with, right? So they got us utilizing like 200-year-old technology, you feel me? Because they want to save the pockets of the oligarchs. But this is denying us the ability to live in the future, presently. This is denying us the ability to bump up, you know, and do the things as a species that we're supposed to be doing, to evolve as a species, to step on the galactic stage as a species, to join our cosmic cousins as a species, to level up as a species. You know what I'm saying? Just for commercial gains. You know? Pilots are seeing some very strange things in the Arizona military training ranges. Now, Arizona is a hotbed for where the U.S. is operating a lot of their false, you know, flag machineries from, because they have reverse engineered these ships, and they have things that would mimic, or you would think were extraterrestrial or UFO ships, and they're not. They're U.S. military. Okay? So all of these things are taking place in real time, and the reset is taking place, and there is two roads that are converging at the same time. It's called artificial intelligence, and it's called alien invasion, or alien interaction, or alien interference, or alien interloping, right? We're dealing with two strains of AI at the same time, and both strains are what? Showing the feebleness of man's intelligence, the fact that he's not as smart as he thought he was, right? And this time next year, what is the landscape going to look like? If man can't keep up with machine, and he damn sure can't keep up with the aliens who can read his lying ass thoughts, because man can't tell the fucking truth to save his life. And not the human. We know what man we talking about. We talking about mankind. We talking about the people with the forked tongues, right? Who have to lie in order for them to hold form. Because if they told the truth and we really saw how fucking feeble They are, right? They will continue to get stepped on as they were getting stepped on in the past. So they will not find themselves in a predominant situation where they are only able to dominate through military, my nigga. That's the only way that this bluff game works over here, right? Because there's a tendency to say, oh, these people don't rule through brain, they rule through, they don't rule through brawn, they rule through brain, right? The colonizer rules through intellect. But his intellect is mainly based on a bluff game, right? You think he's able to do something to you, so he got you frozen in fear. You will never find out what he's made of, nigga, because you would never try your hand. And that is the information that was relayed to me in 2010 when I had my first encounter with them. And the amazing thing, and I need this for people like Red and a few other people that have been around when I've been telling this story since 2010, just so them niggas know I'm not crazy, because I don't even know. I didn't ask them and shit. Y'all niggas think I'm still crazy? I never really, I never circled my wagon, because I was the crazy nigga running around in 2010 with spaceships following me, attempting to introduce all of my homies to the fucking aliens, and niggas wasn't interested, and it hurt my heart. Like, goddamn, is it me or is it them? What's going on here? Like, because I'm showing you how to communicate with craft. I'm showing you how to do some fantastical shit that's never been done. All y'all niggas is doing is talking about books that you read about aliens. But here I go, I show up with some, and then you niggas don't want to play these games. Right? See, I'm a little touched, right? These niggas was running from real life contact just so they could argue about philosophies and dogma. Niggas wanted to go back to debating. And I'm like, son, like, the aliens showed up. Like, the mothership is right here. Like, they was with me every single day of 2010 until they wasn't no more. But what Dr. Stephen Greer said on DJ Vlad, Brother Red Pill, just so you can hear it yourself, is that he mimicked the conversation that I keep telling you that I had with these entities, where they said, your people are frozen in fear, and they are ruled by iron and lead, right? The fear of iron, the fear of military, tanks and missiles and shit, and the fear of lead. Police, foot soldiers, right, with pistols and shit like that. You niggas won't lift a finger for your freedom or your rebellion, your rights, your freedoms, your liberties, your get back, anything. Whatever you niggas is talking about, you have no ability to forcefully or willingly go and get it, because you are frozen by fear of iron and lead. And they took me somewhere and they showed me the shit. And they showed me the military, and then they showed me the police. And they said, if we were to intercede on the behalf of you people who's supposed to be God, y'all not gonna get a pass. We gotta fuck everything up, because we can't separate the wheat from the chaff. So if they intervene, because something has to give at some point, because the traffic in the galaxy is backed up because of the shit that's taking place on Earth by your children who are out of control that you failed to check. I'm seeing this shit in the community with people with their children. I'm seeing it happen in real time with people and their melanated children, let alone the children that you helped create in some sort of fucking social experiment that you lost control of, and they came back and whooped your ass, and nobody wants to tell it like it is. And this is the situation, young fat. This is the unpreparedness in a situation that a member of this said community found themselves in, going up in a debate against a Jewish person, right, who had the audacity to call a spade a spade. And it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing when it plays out like that, right? These are your children who have come back and whooped your ass right? And have you hostage as a parent in your own home, up in the attic hiding, right? Because they got loud weapons. And you got motherfucking shell shock from Vietnam. And you hiding in the attic because you think that it's the gooks and the motherfucking Viet Cong coming back looking for you. That's where you at. And galactically, they said that this is unprecedented, but they cannot intervene, or else you niggas are going to be branded as the pussies of the universe. And you're going to get dealt with as pussies of the universe. Right? You're going to get child trafficked and shit like that throughout the galaxy. If somebody else has to come and intervene on your behalf, if you don't get this earthbound shit in check, you cannot run around the galaxy calling yourselves gods. How about that? That's how serious this shit is. And they said if you set it off, we got your back. But you'll never know because you'll never set it off because you're frozen by fear. Right? But they can't set it off for you. You got to set it off. You have to move in faith. This way you got to tap into the baby you've been throwing out with the bathwater called religion, that you got to step in blind faith, nigga. Right? And walk in the dark like the fucking sun was outside at midnight, nigga. But y'all is drillers. Y'all is spinning the block. You so fucking tough. Peace, bro. I'm great. Yourself? Yes, sir. But you spinning the block. But you on demon time. Right? But everybody that gets to look like you can taste the motherfucking gun smoke. But this when niggas was boo-hooing about the police. And outside of Micah X, whose name you don't know, right? Or my dude Gavin Long, nobody ever motherfucking bust a fruit in a fruit fight and did nothing to equalize any perceived threat or neutralize any perceived threat. So I don't want to hear that shit. Right? That's not what niggas is cut from. They don't want no smoke. And the aliens know it, nigga. And it's embarrassing on a galactic level. This shit stinks to the high heavens. That's what they told me in 2010. And then what did niggas do? They started the motherfucking debate circuit. And nobody ever wanted to really deal with the real deal. Even though they was bumping their gums like they was about their lives and calling themselves generals and shit like that. Where was the army at? Where was the plays? Where was the strategic planning? Where was the execution of the strategic planning? Right? Can you show me a body of an op? No. Now them niggas in Egypt is telling you to fucking kick rocks. You can't even come over here talking that Afrocentric shit. That's how bad it's gotten. That's how motherfuckers done dropped the ball in one lifetime, in one decade. These niggas is back out the gate. They was not like that in the early 2000s. They wouldn't dare show their fucking face and rear their head talking crazy to us about who we are versus who we aren't. Now them niggas sound so confident because of the goofy shit going on in this community. Nobody's scared no more. And you seen what happened when the colonizers not scared. They'll push up in your own neighborhood, push you out, paint that shit a pastel color, throw a coffee shop up, raise the rent ×2, you feel me? And tell you niggas to, I'm sitting outside drinking my coffee. Get sturdy for me, nigga. Get sturdy. And then they'll FaceTime their friends in Montana. Like, look, we got niggas out here getting sturdy for change. Huh? Yeah, they would never have tried that when Dr. Ben was alive. They would never have tried that. But I can't speak for none of the quote-unquote elders that are alive now. They know something about you niggas that's compromised, that they're willing to motherfucking dance all over the graves of the master teachers with no fear of reprisal whatsoever. Whatsoever. They talking greasy. Get sturdy. That's a That's the dance move that the New York drillers do. You know what I'm saying? New York drillers, they do dances and shit like that. So they are the amusement and the entertainment for the gentrifiers that are in New York, living on those high-priced brownstones up the block from these niggas' gang territories in places like Bed-Stuy and shit like that. It's so fucking goofy. Okay? It's so goofy. Because this is the same activity that led the gentrifiers to gentrify these neighborhoods to begin with. Niggas were pawns in the game, utilizing crack cocaine to lower property value so they could come in 30 years later and buy this shit for pennies on the dollar. And then take the children and send them through the prison pipeline to prop those stocks up. Right? And then that creates that increases the real estate value in the small towns that the prisons are located in. And it also gives them extra motherfucking weight in congressional districts for them to vote on people because the inmates of the prisons are counted as citizens of the county. Like, you didn't notice? Like, this is the game that they play that niggas are willingly participating in as a ruse of integration, of which we have not even sat down as a people and took a review. We have not even taken an audit of what does integration look like in the last 50 years for us. We're not even taking our lives that serious. Right? Hence the fact that we are not in the conversation whatsoever about aliens, because we can't muster up the nerve, right, to look at our cosmic cousins as if we've been standing on business on Earth long enough that we can be included in the galactic conversation. We done came to Earth and lost our galactic ghetto pass. You can't even move around them halls no more, nigga, because you're subhuman. You have not even dealt with the human shit in a way that's respectable. Like the animals is standing on business more than you because they popping off. You can't even hold a light to them. They don't even want to be in company with you. They're like, nah, nigga. We don't have nothing in common. Y'all once was badasses. Right? While falling confidence in America's military, right, is causing a real crisis. Right? Falling confidence in America's military, right? So the military's dead on arrival in this country. Right? There's no confidence. The youth are not into it. Their recruiting numbers is in the toilet. You feel me? They don't got nothing moving. They don't have motion. They don't got motion. And these niggas is committing suicides at 22 people a day. A day. Have you not been seeing these animals popping off? Animals is wigging. Every time they get next to the colonizer, they wigging on them. Wigging. Just to make sure that the aliens know we not them other niggas, right? Let the record show we not going for this bullshit. And we want some get back. Right? While niggas is going to see Barbie. Right? And the women want to be more Barbie-ish. More Barbie-esque. They're taking their little sons and shit with them. Go see Barbie. The animals is like, we over this shit. Right? There's a combination of things that are threatening the U.S. military's recruiting efforts. So, again, we're having a compounding conversation at one time, y'all, and I wanna give you some. I want to give you some context so you can see this shit. In one hand, they're telling you that we are inundated with a presence of aliens, right? They're also explaining to you that if these aliens were malevolent, right, then they would have been staged some get back, okay? Because this country has been aggressive towards those crafts, like everything else that they're aggressive towards that they encounter. They kill everything that they encounter that's foreign to them, whether it's animals, whether it's aliens, whether it's humans, right? They wanted to go to Sentinel Islands to kill those people, to do research on them. They either kill them or they capture them so they can prong them and research them and do weird shit to them. Like Avatar. This is how they interface with, things that they don't understand or things that are different. Right? So at a time that the country is telling you that they are inundated by the presence of what's considered to be extraterrestrials, whether they're interterrestrials or extraterrestrials, right? So whether they come from inner Earth or whether they come from outer Earth, right? Their presence is pretty much at this point in time been confirmed, right? And again, you can look at it one or two ways. Either this is the greatest psyops ever in military history, okay? It's the greatest psyops ever. Them telling you a lie to say that they do exist. That would be the greatest psyops ever, right? Or you're looking at the greatest cover-up that ever took place in humanity's existence. Because the church is complicit, right? Because the church has an automatic link to the CIA's internal office. So anytime that the CIA uncovers something paranormal, extra, earthy, right? Some shit that's mysterious, they have to report it to the Vatican. So the Vatican already has a direct through rate to the CIA. So it's impossible for the Vatican not to know this information. Also, they are the top astronomers with the most powerful telescopes, right? So if I can see craft with my naked eye damn near every night, nigga, okay? Then they have seen them shits as well. And they've interacted with them. At least they should have. So at the same time that America's telling you that they're not the strongest military, because their military might is mainly airborne, right? Hence the fact that the symbol of America is the bald eagle. So America dominates militarily via the air, right? Via their craft. It's not by sea. It's not by ground. It's by the air. They are airborne military, right? That is where their dominance is best expressed, via the air. Remember the movie Top Gun, niggas? Huh? Isn't that Battleship is not the blockbuster, nigga? Not Battleship with Rihanna, right? Battleship, did they have Rihanna in it? Yeah, not Battleship with Rihanna, nigga. That's not what took off. Top Gun. Top Gun. Okay? So, if they're telling you we are no longer the top flight military might on the planet, then they're telling you that they can't secure you. They told you that in February with the Chinese balloons. In so many words. Yo, we can't even shoot down a weather balloon. We're bluffing. We don't have what you think that we got. We had to send an F-22 and an F-16 up there to shoot down balloons. They were scrambling the Air Force in the airspace. What the fuck they gonna do with a craft that moves from 0 to 60 in under a second? And then they paying $1.7 trillion to build planes that's gonna get motherfucking smoked in an instant. So if you spent $1.7 trillion to build a tin can motherfucking jet, old ass technology, what you think the black budgets are for them to be building out these craft? And where they getting this money from? So let's read this last paragraph. The military has long found itself entwined in various culture war issues, but increasingly has found itself under criticism from the right in recent years over various social policies, a driving factor in the failing support. At the same time, it's not as if it is making up support on the left where different kinds of worries are aimed at the military. So because of partisanship, because of politics, they're saying that the military is stretched on both sides because it's too woke, right? That's what they call when they say culture wars. That's a euphemism for their campaign against wokeness. Okay? So they're saying wokeness is making the military unattractive to the right. Then on the left, they're saying the unwillingness of them to be LGBT friendly, right, is making them unattractive to the left, right? Abortion, extremism, extremists within the ranks, right? So they have whole white supremacist militia outfits that are inside of the military that this government refuses to crack down on, even though the biggest existential threat to America is domestic terrorism, white supremacy. But you have not seen them do one raid, one crackdown. Yeah, they might have picked them apart for the January 6th edition, but they have not sounded the alarm and said we're going to go after them like they do with organized or quote-unquote street gangs. Right? They ain't hit one of them niggas with the RICO yet. Okay? And these are domestic terrorists. You feel me? So the military is going through it and the church is going through it. Right? All of this shit is taking place at the same time. So America's telling you, yo, we're not the military superpower anymore by any stretch of the imagination. We're not even going to get into the quantum computing of capabilities of China, right, in the quantum race, and the fact that you can only be the superior military at this time if you are if you have quantum supremacy, right? So whoever solves the quantum computer chip game, that's the person that's going to have military superiority. Why do I say that? Why do I say that? Because, first of all, the military superiority not only deals with space satellites and dominating space in the quantum race, but it also deals with cyberspace. So the encryption abilities of a quantum computer to break encryption on something gives you military superiority. Okay? So America don't have either one. And if you're a patriot, yes, this should be a cause of concern for you. Okay? This should be a cause of concern for you. So America's telling you we don't have superiority in the airspace. That belongs to unidentifiable flying objects and space aliens who we are in, we're in because now they got to come out and tell you, in order to appease your concerns, they're going to have to tell you on the next play, we've been in contact with them and they're good guys, right? They're on our side. They're on our side. They're going to have to tell you that in order to appease your mistrust and your fear that's going to, because right now they're gauging the public and they're like, these niggas really don't care, right? Yet, because they haven't seen anything yet. You can't feed America congressional reports and then they're going to make that a big thing, right? You can't tell them that. You can't have them use their imagination about some shit if it's not Lizzo, right? Like, they don't got to produce tangible. They didn't even have to show you niggas the brothel. They just had to make the insinuation about bananas and vaginas, and you niggas that's all you needed to visualize what the fuck Lizzo had going on with her freaky ass. But it's not gonna work the same way with aliens. Okay? He's gonna have to see Little Green Men before they motherfucking, really show you what's on their mind. Before this shit moves a metric, they're gonna have to show you some shit. They're gonna have to show you some shit. Lizzo, they don't got to show you a motherfucking thing. All they gotta do is keep insinuating and showing you pictures of bananas. That's enough. It's not gonna work the same way with aliens. Right? They don't have that much retention. They're not that sticky. We're too normalized by that shit. You're going to have to show a dog fight in space with them blowing some shit up. And you're going to have to show an alien, and the nigga got to be Diesel. The nigga got to have muscles, or niggas is not going to be concerned. Because they're going to think that they choppers is going to be able to deal with this shit. They be like, nigga, I got bullets, nigga. Huh?
Like that shit from Signs?
Yeah, like if they show up looking like the nigga from Signs, where he got an elongated brain and shit, and the nigga kind of, he cut up nigga like he do calisthenics, it's gonna be a problem. And these fucking women gonna be choosing. Then you niggas gonna be really shit out of luck, and y'all gonna be making all kind of apologies to the black woman again. And she gonna be like, nah, I'm trying to have this nigga with the alien head. You feel me? Did you see this nigga's penis? Then it's a wrap. Did you see this nigga's banana? Then it's a wrap for you niggas. Yeah, if these niggas show up with extendos and eggplants, she choosing up. She choosing up. Because that's your only saving grace, nigga. The only reason that you ain't in the basement right now is because you got phallic prowess and your competition is not hitting like you. But let you get replaced by some nigga who shit is retractable. Like, he got to reel his shit in like it's a fish line. It's a wrap. And she choosing up. Nigga, she got a Barbie body. You think her plastic bonus hole can't handle it? You think her well-constructed bonus hole that has been perfectly crafted by Dr. Miami, you think that shit can't handle a retractable eggplant? She gonna get cut, nigga, in order to make that shit happen. To be like, yeah, she the first hybrid baddie. Like, yeah, this nigga got me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going on paid trips and vacations and shit to Aldebaran. You know what I'm saying? This nigga flew me out to Sirius. This nigga flew me out to Sirius X. You know what I'm saying? And the Passbro bros is stuck. These niggas is, you know what I'm saying? They traveling around picking up spares and shit around the world. And Sexy Red and them is on fucking spacecrafts. You know what I mean? Getting sturdy with aliens and shit. And these niggas got retractable eggplants. Come on. It's over for you niggas. Overnight. Overnight. They're gonna stop all of that black man is king bullshit real quick. You're choosing up on you niggas. You're choosing up on you niggas. Let Raquisha and them have the first curly hair baby alien hybrid nigga, and the nigga eyes can change from green to brown. It's a wrap. The whole species terminus, nigga. You niggas is finished. Y'all gonna shrivel up like raisins. Am I lying? Am I lying? Look, when you see them women with the BBL hips, that shit look like it's out of Species. Remember the movie Species? They look like the women is being prototypes so they can fold over and do some shit like this. You see they fucking hips? You see how them shits be oblong? Like they go like that and then they square down? They look like they out of the movie Species, man. They look like they bend over and shit, and they can start rolling like they motherfucking Sonic, like they hedgehogs or something. And then they're gonna get confused. The shorties with the eyelashes, the fluffaluffagus. Yeah, they're gonna have an insect beauty attraction. And be like, oh, she reminds me of a crush that I had on Aldebaran. You know what I'm saying? They got the insect eyelashes and shit. They're gonna mistake y'all for centipede oil. Centipede. So it's not just transhumanism that our women are being fitted for. Our women are being prototyped and fitted for alien introductions and interactions with alien insect species that find y'all attractive because y'all looking like a whole nother species now. Like, what nigga are y'all doing that shit for? Finesse 2 times? Like, what's the prototype of the nigga who want the shorty
That is my question.
with the plastic booty, this deformed, and the snuffleupagus eyelashes with mad pieces in it? Like, who's the nigga that y'all all prying for the attention of? Is it Moneybag Yo?
That's the question.
Which one of these niggas is it?
Who is it?
You know what I'm saying?
What's the problem?
I could see if this was like 50 Cent in his heyday, and y'all was just breaking yourselves because this nigga got $1 billion. He, you know what I'm saying? He's the thug persona that you was always dreaming of. This nigga's Tupac reincarnated, right? But what is it can't be Charleston White. It can't be. I don't think this is what Charleston White is into, yo. It can't be Charleston White. Is it Finesse 2 times? Who's the prototypical? Who's the nigga that's the head of the dominant species of niggerism that y'all like? I want this nigga's attention. You feel me? I'm gonna break my hip bone and then put a pogo stick in it so that shit can poke out and look all kind of weird ass ways. Like you could drive a motherfucking a pickup truck through the inside of their hips be like this. The shit be all this shit like an upside down cave. Who? Sauce Walker? Nah, it ain't Sauce Walker. He want white bitches with big asses that's borderline natural so he could fucking pimp them. This ain't Sauce Walker. This ain't Sauce Walker. This gotta be, and I Finesse 2 time. One of his girls, she looked like she was part of the conscious community and shit. These niggas be on the low. The shorties that they be wifing be the witcheries that's part of the conscious community. They be having one foot in hold'em and the other foot in spirituality.
Chaotic.
Huh?
It's chaotic.
Is it chaotic? Is that the nigga that y'all trying to frame a reference for? Is this the niggas whose sperm you're trying to leap and catch? Is he controlling the mating ritual? Who is it? Durkio? Yeah. Who? Dirt Girl on natural too?
Yeah, she don't wear no makeup. She wear regular clothes. She dress like
See?
a regular girl from
It be
the
they wife in the regular clothes, regular ones that they borderline natural. They be, they got one foot, they got a meme page where they put consciousness up and sell motherfucking weight loss tea on the side. Them the ones that's catching these niggas and making them wife them. It's not the ones that, look like, you feel me? Lil' Kim and them. Yeah, like who y'all dropping it low for? Oh, somebody said Kevin Gates.
That nigga don't want no bitch.
He don't want no bitch. He want a hybrid. He want a hybrid. So it's not enough for y'all to look like transvestites. That nigga wants a tranny.
You gotta have a dick too, girl.
Yeah, you gotta have schlong in order to catch him. So it can be him. Who is it? Drake like ratchets. Not like bitches in the strip club with bullet holes. I don't think he's into, you know what I'm saying, the plastic. You know, they ain't even run down on Nicki. Like, they ain't even get to tap her buns. So, they doing it for Dennis Rodman. Okay. That makes sense. Said Drake like Vikings. Oh, shit. Oh, man. It ain't gonna. It ain't gonna. YG. They doing it for Jeffrey, huh? They doing it for Thugger. But look, like I said, when I seen the ones that you see them wife, the ones that you see them put babies in, they be the Barquishas that don't got no surgery. They like project chicks and shit like that. Like, they don't be nothing special about their BMs in comparison to the shit that you see that's so methodically made up that it look like the shit came wrapped in plastic in a Barbie house. You don't see them with them like that. They be throwaways that niggas take home from the club and they don't even be owning them when it come time a day later for brunch. You know what I'm saying? They don't even take these bitches to brunch with them. So I don't think it's Big Slime. And it ain't Future. That ain't what Future's into. Lori Harvey is natural from what I understand, right? Am I missing something? Larsa Pippen might have her lips done and some other shit, but I'm talking about the bot surgery looking bitches that be running around out here like they shit don't stink. Who the fuck are they doing it for? Like, what niggas is running up in them shits and claiming that for wifey status? Because are you looking to be chose, or you looking to be, you know what I'm saying, ran through and disposed of? Is that some shit that you doing to like attract a nigga forever? And what happens when your pieces start going bad? Did you think this through? Moneybag. I mean, again, y'all naming dudes that already caught up in situations, and
But they wouldn't want no money bag. They didn't want money bag when he first came out. They want them because of the girls that they in them. But they don't want them. They want what they think these girls have. They don't know what they want.
Gucci don't have a situation. Again, y'all naming people that have situations with women who are borderline natural. They're not the face of cosmic surgery.
What's this baby? Ari is not natural.
Huh?
Money bag yo girl is not natural.
No, I'm saying.
With the bottom surgery.
Huh?
She's one of them with the bottom surgery.
Okay, well, Ari got bot surgery. They said Gucci. Keisha Kior got bot surgery.
She got surgery. I don't know if it's not. She just look very stuck the way she is. Like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, these
But she got. Remember, she was big when she first came on the scene. She didn't always look like that.
yeah, so yeah. Who I don't know who they doing this for to get chose up. I don't know who is the preferential nigga that's at the top of the nigger kingdom or dominant society. Who's the epsilon male that is making them do this? Because, you know, there's a time when there'd be a dude in the game and women start angling themselves to be of that particular preference. You know what I'm saying? I seen it with Lil Wayne. You know what I mean? Where you like, these niggas? But I guess women see something totally different. Right? We not the same. Right? Rightfully so. I'm just looking at homie like, the nigga look like a gremlin. And that's not, I'm just looking, just a basic observation. I'm like, the nigga look like a gremlin. But then, you know what I'm saying? That gremlin nigga is attractive to women. So it's like, I have no, I can only ask questions. I have no fucking idea what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea what's going on. I don't, the chemistry of a woman's brain is totally different. Y'all might even have your own fucking species as far as I'm concerned, because I just don't, yeah, I don't know what goes into the planning. I don't know what goes into the planning.
It'd be an essence and your swag. It's not
That
necessarily
the essence and the swag, huh?
the confidence. Like, it's an aura about y'all. Y'all could be, that's why you might see some girls with some ass ugly men, but it's the way that he carries himself. Like, especially for us, like I said, with the hood niggas.
You want to be heard? Because we can't hear you from over there. You probably got something very
I'm talking to you,
important to contribute. I know, but they might want to hear you. Just come over here. It's alright, girl. You don't got to be on camera. But you be saying some important shit.
I be spitting.
You be spitting, yeah.
What I was saying?
Huh?
No, I was saying sometimes, like, it's not just necessarily how y'all look, but it's y'all swag, it's y'all essence, it's the way that y'all carry yourself. And as black men, y'all got a natural thing. So when y'all know the thing that y'all got, like, y'all aware of it, y'all move different.
Oh, shit.
And we comfortable with that. When you comfortable with you, when you secure with you, when you know nobody gonna fuck with you, we feel better because you know you're not gonna let nobody fuck with me either.
Ooh.
So sometimes that's, that could be what it is.
That's the attractiveness of it, the aura.
Yeah, it'd be the aura. But now,
swag.
Me making my observations of like what it looks like now.
So a woman is gonna be like, I have a gremlin looking child. Like the trade off is like, if this nigga got swag, he could look like a baby bug.
Now it might be if he got some status and some money, I'll be like, whatever, because shoot, at least that baby gonna be taken care of. That's how they thinking now.
But what if the nigga get hit with the RICO and that support ain't there?
That's not what they thinking of. Because this is what I was about to say. When I was growing up, like I just told you how we felt about men, that's what it was. But now I'm making observations, and it seems more like they're trying to live out this fantasy that I don't know if they really know what it was, because they were kind of too young to be involved in it. You feel me? Like they could only they could only go off of what they look at. So if I'm watching Baby Boy, everybody like that movie, yeah, I want to be like Yvette, or I want to be like Peanut, or I want to be like this one. Whoever one was most attractive to the people, a majority of the people that watched it, that's what I want to emulate, because that's what you see them doing now.
Right.
The little girls are dressing up like the video vixens that used to be on TV. They acting like the music. They're acting like the music videos. None of the shit was real. It was all a set. It was all treatment. Somebody wrote it out.
Right.
But y'all want to actually live that.
Right. So they're cosplaying. The
what
people
they think
who impress.
Hood love is.
Right. Because
they
were
love something I can relate to.
They said that youth are impressionable.
Hella.
So the images or the characters they're impressed upon the mentality of the youth at that time in their subconscious. These are the characters that they grew up to emulate.
Yes, that's exactly what they're doing. Because look at the whole culture. When you go back and watch the old 2000s, early 2000s, late 90s music videos and movies, they had, like you see, what's the movie? Players Club.
Players Club.
Look at how everybody is dressed, and everybody want to be Ronnie and Trix. But if you really had to live that Ronnie and Trix life,
right. Right, they don't want this part of the life where she got her ass beat, right?
So it's the same thing with the strip club. Once they started bringing the cameras into the strip club, and the kids, of course, you couldn't get into a strip club, but now you go on YouTube and you could see King of Diamonds Monday night, something you could never get into because obviously you way too young.
Right. Somebody said too old for it. BET Uncut type shit. Now you was telling me about that.
Hell yeah, we stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning to watch it.
Say what?
We stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning to watch BET Uncut.
About how old was you?
I don't know. I was very young.
Yeah,
I was very young.
Don't get your...
For years, too. As long as I can remember, until BET Uncut stopped, until they changed, they had, I think when they changed to Viacom, and they started, like, cutting back on their typical shows, the video shows, and they would only show, like, 106 in Park and Baby Boy, and we gonna do? We didn't
Right.
have social media. Social media was just coming. It was slow. Like, what else were we gonna do?
Right. Somebody said Nelly video, tip drill.
What?
Facts.
Tip drill, white girls.
So they had
all
to
type
see,
of
they had to
stuff.
stay up to see tip drill video.
Yeah,
That's
like,
what people are saying in the comments.
yeah, exactly. We stayed
Right.
up to
White
watch that
chocolate.
shit. But now you got it on demand. You could
Yeah.
just be scrolling through Instagram and see something. You know, even
And
when we
deep-
were the kids, and I
yeah.
see how the little girls
And mind
act,
you,
like,
and Red is in the building. These are the actual strippers that we grew up with in the club. The ones that you seen on Tip Drill. These are the ones that we were here in Atlanta with. You know what I'm saying? Setting the culture, planting the seeds for all of the ratchetness that you... That's why it's hard for me. It's hard for me.
but the difference is
Because I have a
experience.
front row seat. I have an experience. I have my hand in certain things. And now I'm a cultural critic.
You have a different
But,
perspective
yeah.
of things when you're in it, as opposed to you standing from the outside of the club, imagining what it must be like to be inside. It's a complete, because on the outside, you're just going to pretend that you're inside. You have no
Right.
idea what it's really like to be inside. You're just
I
pretending.
literally remember in Atlanta 2000 during the Super Bowl. Super Bowl was down here in Atlanta, and this when Nelly was launching his campaign. His first single was out, Country Grammar, Boom Boom, oh my baby, up, and no, you know, this is where people got to know Nelly from. That weekend in Atlanta when he was tearing it up out here, and then I think that somebody had got bumped from the MTV Awards and they let him open up, and then it was a wrap. But I remember seeing that whole campaign. I remember seeing Nelly running around, jumping
Right.
from
How
car to
about-
car.
How about, I'm going to show my age right now, but when Hot in Here came out, let's just say I was not old enough to go to the club. I thought that's what the club was like. I thought the sprinklers came on. I thought we take our clothes off. I got my bathing suit top underneath. We was going to be on top of the counters doing the chicken head. Like, I thought that's what the club was like. So when I got old enough to go to the club and it was nothing like the Nelly video, I was upset. And most of us were upset. And I'm just using that as an example as to this is the type of shit that's going on. Like, they don't know anything about nothing. All they did is they looked on their phones and their computers. Oh, that's what the adults are doing. That's what they like. Shit, that's what I want to be like. I have no idea what that world is really like, but I want to cosplay.
Facts.
So again,
And
you
that's
know,
how it happened.
you
in
gotta
a
be
nutshell.
mindful when you're doing things because you want to do it and when you feel like you have to, and never forget what you're doing things for. Because I don't, you know, a lot of them, I don't even think they know what they're doing it for. They just, it's like if I dress like this, if I talk like this, if I act like this one, then I'm gonna automatically become that person.
Or get the
It's like-
attention
or
of...
get that attention. But y'all gotta be mindful, and please, if you have teenage girls or young girls, please sit down with them and speak to them, because the attitudes that they're picking up
Oh, man.
from these city girls and this hot girl thing and whatever the baddies they're seeing on Instagram, they're really emulating that, and they don't understand how the real world works. That, you know, not everybody is on Instagram with it. You will get slapped.
Yeah. We seeing some very bad attitudes. You know, we were around some young women recently, and just the delusion that they live in, they can't fight. You know what I'm saying? They haven't really had a lot of physical confrontation, but they got this stank attitude. And we was around 11, 12, and 13-year-olds seeing this stuff manifest. They ain't even get to high school yet. You know, they ain't even get in the thick of things. And they already got this energy on them and this attitude that the whole world could kiss their ass and somebody owed them something and everything bothers them. You know what I'm saying? But the silly shit that they into, I mean, it's unprecedented. Whoever they getting their program from, it's a defunct program, and it's very dangerous because those girls are delusional. Like, the world is not going to receive them like that. You know what I'm saying? The world is not going to receive them like that. They got horrible attitudes. You know, they got horrible attitudes about life and about people's value in life. And Yeah, man. Parents, you just got to be very mindful of the need and the necessity for parenting at this particular time. Um, I don't have all of the suggestions in the world, but they have to be got to get in front of this. So yeah, man, the alien conversation is an interesting one. It's not gonna go away. Um, we should not ignore it. You know what I'm saying? We should have the conversation without losing our footing of physicality. We live in the real world. We got to deal with real things. People is like, if it don't pay my rent, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. But I'm like, Lizzo don't pay your rent. Beyonce's not paying your rent. None of these things that you give your attention and your energy to pay your rent, but you are still caught up in those conversations and emotional aspects of these conversations. So I'm like, shit, you might have it in you, because this shit might have an effect on your rent being paid. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna change the world. It's gonna change how we move and operate in the world. You feel me? And it, like, this ain't shit that you want to know about. Like, you just cool and content with doing whatever, being whatever. Look, I found some pictures the other day. When we was in Miami, 2001, in the mix of things. Feel me? Doing what it is that we do. But I say that to say that there was just so many memories about going to these cities and seeding these cities with different type of energies, in the late 90s, all through the 2000s, even while I'm going through my transformations in consciousness, I'm still, moving off of the remnants of the past life, the shit that I was dealing with in the streets. And everywhere I'm going, my homies were still there, running shit. So I had a lot of different interactions and interfacing with, with the elements, with the energy. That gave me an advantage to see shit from different perspectives. Right? Look at Red acting up. Wait till you see my what? Yeah, whoremongering. Yeah, whoremongering.
Freaky red.
Freaky Red. Sexy.
Sexy red. Pause.
Pause. Pregnant pause. Ooh, chill. Gang in this thing, yeah. We used to my cousin was the manager for Pitbull, so somebody said something about Uncle Luke. Yeah, we used to be on tour with Uncle Luke. And this was Uncle Luke's DVD tour, so he had all of the strippers involved. And like I said, I knew so many of these strippers and porn stars. I have so many. I have monumental interviews with Heather Hunter that I have to locate, and that was the homie. Heather Hunter was hella cool. She was one cool individual she used to spit. She had information. I really need to locate those interviews. Heather Hunter, she was giving tips. She was giving tips for the young brothers on how to please women too. Those was instrumental, developmental tips that young men need. It reminds you of Sub-Zero, right? So, when we was with Pitbull, that was Little John, that was Yin Yang. Everybody that was on TVT was part of that movement. So yeah, we was acting bad all through the South during them times and everywhere else. Huh? Yeah, yeah. All of their bodies was natural. All of that was jelly. You feel me? All of that was the jelly. You know, it was all natural bodies and shit. And it was going down, nigga. It was going down. It was going down. If you know what it's hitting for, you know what it's hitting for. You know what Florida is hitting for. All them strip clubs they talk about and all that shit, that was the office. That was the office. I remember just having regular meetings and shit in these strip clubs, and the bros would be having they would be in the tub with the bubbles in it, having the water gun fights and splat. What was that, King of Diamonds or something?
King of Diamonds, they used to have the fight night.
Yeah, I remember fight night, all that shit. The whole shit, all that shit. I know all this shit. I know all this shit so much I done forgot this shit. This shit is so old to me. Rolex and all of that shit. It was all, yeah, classic headband era. Yeah, the headband era. Shout out to the homie Rikers. I'll keep telling you about Rikers. Rikers ended up being the point person for it was not just Mitchell and Ness, it was the other company too. Rikers was the top dog. Rikers got one of the best life stories ever. Because Rikers got shot 5 times before all of this shit that I'm telling y'all. I forgot to leave that part out. The Rikers had came back from the dead. Because he got shot 5 times. He died and he came back to life. And this nigga was different. And he had a main job at Verizon that paid him 6 figures a year. And then the nigga used to do all of this extra work on the side because he would finish his Verizon job by 10 a.m. And the nigga was making 6 figures. And he was a blood, and he was the Decepticon, and this nigga was a Mason and a bunch of other things. Shout out to Rikers. Rikers is a legend. And he's still at it today. Right? Rikers got mad. He's the silent glue in the industry. We used to go up to Rockefeller all the time because Rikers would go in these buildings and Rikers make friends with anybody everywhere he go. And he like billionaire PA. Very personable. I never seen somebody that either you don't fuck with him at all or you fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? And he was the go-between. So it would be people in our gang that's like, nah, this nigga's a switch hitter. I don't fuck with him. And he still made his way in. So, yeah. Rikers was the main plug at this clothing company, and it's not New Era. It's not Mitchell and Ness. Damn, I can't forget. Rucker. Yeah, Rucker. That was the name of the clothing company. It was another one too, but Rucker was one of them. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Rikers used to hook us up. Yeah, Ruckers, right? So yeah, we was shout out. That's my cousin Big Teach, right there. That's Red over there, and they was running around, with Pitbull during his run, and then Lil Jon. I remember that's how I met Lil Scrappy, Yin Yang Twins, Jackie O. Dang. Yeah. So, this was the time. This was it's pointless to have a real discussion. I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about in the chat. Yeah, all right. So yeah. This is the journey. Came from a lot of different places, seen a lot of things, came from a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? And um, I'm we're still here, right? We're still here. We're still turning new pages. We're still learning. We're still learning and learning. We're still yearning for more. Um, and I hope that I don't inundate you with the problems that we have as a culture, as a people, as a society. It's just putting things in perspective so we can see them, so you can decide which one of these things that you want to tackle, or you can be blind altogether to the nuances of things going on. And hopefully, conversations such as this will help open your eyes and enlighten you to all of the points, all of the nuances, the things that are deserving of your attention, especially if you are the parent of teenagers. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, these are different times that we live in, you know, and the children are different. And when we were children, our parents said that, in their generation, their friends said that about us as well, especially their friends who used to see us in the streets. You know what I mean? They will run and tell our parents, like, your babies is different. Like, they on some other shit. And then our parents didn't want to hear it and believe it till they seen it for themselves, because they can't even conceive it. They're like, not my child. It's the same thing that I'm telling you, but you should know enough about your children to know these little niggas is rude, they antisocial, they non-communicative. You know what I'm saying? They too fucking cool for TV. They're living their lives in a virtual world, right? They don't really have real world cues. You know what I'm saying? They need better training. They need better social skills. They got attitudes for no reason. They're over fucking privileged. They don't know what it is to struggle. Right? Then I'm seeing the children of my friends that have made it. Right? My friends have made it, and their children are benefiting from the work and the struggle that their parents went in to provide them a better life, but they don't respect it because they don't know the shit that they came from. And they can't relate to it. You know what I'm saying? And they don't want to relate to it. They look down on it, matter of fact. So they don't even respect it. There's some shit that's beneath them. And then they got these real stinking attitudes about privilege. And they're becoming baby colonizers. And they can't fight. Yeah. And they can't fight. And we finding out that they can't fight at the wrong times. It's the same thing with some of these teachers in the community that y'all was propping up. Y'all thought that they was Billy Badasses, to find out they can't fight intellectually. And we're finding that out at a juncture of time that is not cool, because it's mad embarrassing. And it's on a global stage. You feel me? And and I'll repeat, and it's wild embarrassing that we find ourselves in these situations where we got to do cleanup for niggas that we don't even fuck with, who should not have been allowed to even been considered to be in the conversation for this long. Somebody should have been knocked some of these people's heads off, literally. Because these be the niggas that came through violating the elders in order to get their positions. And the ancestors, the elders and the ancestors, and none of them niggas ever ended up in the right way. Everybody ended up crashed. Horrible crashes, looking deformed. I'm using analogies, y'all. But it's the same shit. Said young girls have a prostitution mindset, transactional love. Absolutely, right? Absolutely. Who taught it to them? Who taught it to them though?
They learn it.
Yeah, it's a learned behavior. It was taught to them, and it was reinforced through the music, through entertainment. You know what I'm saying? We allowed that conversation to flourish in our community and didn't get in front of it with enough force. And you know what force is? Man, you got to do something violent to a motherfucker these days to show them it's a deterrent. Other than that, all of the boo-hoo and belly aching in the world is not going to cut it. They only respect blood. And you got to choose violence, unfortunately. So this is where these conversations kind of come to an end, because I'm not advocating violence either. I'm just a social observer of social scientists and you know, somebody who wants to reverse social engineer the shit that has been done to us. So I'm not putting out a clarion call. Huh?
I say y'all need to be whooping some ass.
Somebody needs to be whooping some ass in order to make it seem as important as you say that it is. You feel me? It's not driving the point home, especially to children who have been raised on violence, but you ain't touched them once. But you telling them about how serious it is and what they should or shouldn't do. They don't even know what it feels like to be penalized. You know what I mean? And they're being fed all of the wrong signals because they grew up saying, if you really cared about it, you will whoop my ass, because that's how they're being orientated into relationships. Because if they're part of a prostitute culture, then they're part of a pimp culture. And if you're not beating their ass, then it really doesn't, it doesn't register. So you got women gorilla pimping that have never, you know what I'm saying, felt the full faculties of pimping within itself. They out here pimping with no principles and pimping with no penalties.
No penalty.
Pimp down.
Guilty. That's no way it's pimping and stress.
Pimping distress. Pimping distress. Pimping distress. P.O.P. So even the pimping is off, because you pimping with no penalties. Pimp down. Shit crazy, man. Man, where the aliens at, man? We done had enough fun. We at the end of the run of our fun. Feel me? We at the end of the run of our fun. Now we need to call the aliens and to clean this shit up, man. You know what I'm saying? This shit has got past.
I done went too far.
Big shit I went too far. Big shit I went too far. Calling the aliens, man. Let's get this shit moving. Feel me?
Let me get a do-over.
Yeah, let's get a do-over. Six Mississippi police officers admit to torturing black men. Right? When is this shit gonna stop? Right? Call the fucking aliens in already. You know what I'm saying? Because Benjamin Crump and them. Benjamin Crump and them is not gonna do nothing outside of what they have the capacity to do. I'm not shitting on Benjamin Crump. I don't even want to get on that gravy train. These people are doing the best with what they're given, going up against a criminal system that is built on lies to begin with. And either they don't know or it don't show, you know, that the way that they litigate for property, which is Negro, blacks, and colors, is not really pushing the needle, right? They're only getting civil they're only getting civil justice. They're getting money because it's civil rights. So they're getting silver, right? They're getting monetary compensations, but they're not getting anything criminal done because, there's a lot of loopholes in the law that deals with property. You feel me? So I don't want to be the one throwing rocks and shit at people that either don't know or they're out here playing the game. Because the niggas is fraternal, so they can only do but so much. Because their law practice is never going to supersede their fraternal obligations, right? So the people are being duped and led astray and used as pawns, of course. You know what I mean? But think about the ramifications of it and how deep it goes. Right? That there are literally people that look like you, that know the shit that we know, that we keep talking about and showing you and proving, right? I don't got the budget they got, but goddamn, I got some receipts, right? That will dismantle that whole motherfucking facade that these people keep talking about, because every time that we speak on it, it sounds so goddamn far-flung and out of the scope of reality. Then you see the shit on the mainstream news. And I could probably go through 12 different topics outside of just UFOs, right? That we have showed and proved over the last 20 years. Standing on business once again, right? Telling you that these people is lying to you. And then the lies come out. And we don't get apologies and shit. You get 100 more bootleg versions of us on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Niggas running with the results of the receipts in real time that was just unveiled. Like, they've been doing it for 20 years. But the niggas is doing it for 20 years, they got to find them something new to do. Because the TikTokers got it from here. You don't find that suspicious? And you talking about clones. You have no idea. And these niggas are stunting. They like, I made $1 million on TikTok.
I made $1 million off your
information. I made millions of dollars off you niggas' information. And I just had to do 1-minute lectures. Right? And that's the flex, Niggas is able to flex. Like, I made $1 million. You ain't made 1 penny. Does it make it any more true? Does it make it any less true? No. It's just how you proposition the information to monetize it, right? But it don't make it any less true. Right? It makes it less attractive. It don't make it less true. Feel me? So that's where we at. That the truth ain't attractive if the shit is not worth $1 trillion. And you got to show niggas receipts. You got to show niggas bank accounts. Other than that, you're a poor righteous teacher. And that's that. So let's just see this last piece. I'm going to get past this last piece. Again, like I said, understand that there's so many conversations taking place at once, and the crystallization of one conversation is going to box out other conversations altogether. I'll give you a case in point. If the conversations around UFOs and aliens from outer space becomes a crystallized, consecrated fact, where does that leave the church? Right? Because the church's game is that this is the only game in town. You know what I'm saying? Adam and Eve, all that bullshit. Right? If God ain't God on other planets, do you need him as God? Right? After all, who was them niggas guarding underneath? Because every civilization is technologically advanced, for some reason, don't have nothing to do with the Abrahamic religious gods. So the Sumerians didn't fuck with the Abrahamic religion gods. The Cometians didn't fuck with them. The Akkadians. the Mesopotamians, the Babylonians, the Indus Kush civilizations, right? Yoruba Ifa. All these people who built kingdoms, civilizations, who had unprecedented culture, breakthroughs in art sciences and architecture, mathematics. And then who the fuck was building these spaceships off planet? What type of information and science do they have that they was able to figure out zero gravity and compulsion and all of these other things? What God has endowed them with the intelligence that supersedes yours, and you're supposed to be the big kahunas in this universe, but you're not. And it shows by evidence of technology, because that's how man flexes. So where does that leave the church? Right? Who has shown you nothing in terms of they ain't showed you no magic yet, other than the spell that they got you cast under, because that's one hell of a magic trick, right? Spell casting on paper is one hell of a magic trick. The downfall of public Christianity as an institution in America has been well documented, but it has not been studied nearly as closely. However, has been a source of the downfall, the devil driving the great unawakening. Two evangelicals are hoping to change this. In their soon-to-be-released book, The Great De-Churching, Pastor Jim Davis and Gospel Coalition writer Michael Graham seek to answer this question with data. Together with political scientists Ryan P. Burge and Paul DeJupe, whose survey of 7,000 Americans and their church habits forms the backbone of the discussion, the writers examine the reasons people say they are leaving the church. What they find, at least according to one advanced review, is that far from asking too much of their members, perhaps churches are not asking nearly enough. Oh. So I did a lecture called When in Rome, right? On February 13th of this year, When in Rome 3, and I showed and explained how there was two existential threats to the Christian church, the Catholic Church in particular, because coming up in October, they're going to have something called a synod, S-Y-N-O-D. And the synod, this is synod 2. The synod 2 is when they audit all members of the Catholic religion, and they ask them, members, the attending church, or members who have decided to no longer come to church, what can they change about the church? What do they think about the church? What are the most dominant issues that the church needs to be facing? And what they're not able to massage over or ignore anymore is sexuality has become it is at the forefront of the church's clarion call. So they're being called upon to either remain strict adherents to the code of not admitting any members of the LGBT community in the church, right? Or in Pope Francis's case, he wants to reform the church and make it more LGBT friendly, right? And they also want to remove some of the restrictions on the church dealing with the admittance of LGBT members into clergy, right? And just the way that they acknowledge them. Hence the fact that he removed homosexuality as a crime, but not a sin, right? Now you have to understand the language of the church. You have to understand the church as a institution based on law, right? Because all canon law comes from the church. Ecclesiastical law is the underpinning of what's called common law. And Roman civic law is the underpinning of what you call UCC law, or the codes and the ordinances, right? So the church is dealing with an existential threat of what's called the Aquarian Age. And the fact that the church are main astronomers, right? They have always known what the Aquarian Age was going to bring to this planet, right? And the influences that the Aquarian Age brings to this planet, okay? And they are making observations of it and deciding whether they should pivot in real time to coincide with the times that we're in, or whether they're going to be stuck in the Piscean Age and crumble under the paradigm shift, right? The tectonic plates of these particular paradigms, right, are now edging up against one another, Piscean and Aquarius. Some things are going to fall and some things are going to rise, right? And the church is saying if they don't change course, they're going to fall. Hence the fact that they can show evidence of them falling already, right? And they're going to blame it on the culture wars, as they're doing in these articles right now. But they don't speak about the biggest existential threat that's going to face the church, and that's going to be AI and alien invasions. So AI, right? AI, the ethical, and we showed this in the lecture, the ethics committee of AI is governed by the Vatican, right? They can't pull anything off in terms of their releases until they screen them by the Vatican. So this is dealing with OpenAI, Microsoft, and they left Google and Apple out of the conversation when they had the meeting. And all three, there were heads from all three religions that met with OpenAI and Microsoft in the Vatican in January. So Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, right? Judaism, all three of their top dogs met at the Vatican, and they met with the Sam Altman and the rest of the people at OpenAI and Microsoft to explain what the code of ethics for AI was going to be leading into the future. All right? So this is their attempts to protect the sanctity of Christianity at a time when you have access to a AI, and you can ask the AI questions and it can delve into manuscripts, right? Because what they also did prior in 2018 or 2016, one of them years, I believe, they started digitizing the Vatican's archives and records. Some of the stuff that they have hidden in the library was digitized through AI, right? So they have, AI has access to a plethora of information and a canon of information that you don't even have access to, that is drawing from to come to these conclusions. The last thing that they want AI to do is contradict what they're saying about religion, which it does if you know how to talk to AI, right? So they attempted to get in front of it like that they're going to regulate it, right, and police it, which is impossible because they're making all of these new AIs with no guardrails that are superseding and going around what OpenAI done, right? And then they face a alien invasion or alien interception or alien information or alien introduction threat, right? Because perceivably, aliens are not going to hold up the lie that the church has been telling over 2,000 years to keep the people in control. They're going to be like, that's some bullshit, right? They threaten to let the cat out the bag. And if these aliens are not coming under the indoctrination or ownership of Christianity by way of them saying, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, then once again, they represent an existential threat to this planet and its political rule, right? Because all three Abrahamic religions have an office in the Vatican. All three of them. All three of them. So, all right. So, and here they're saying Americans don't have time for church. There's just too much going on in their lifestyle. You feel me? They can't pencil it in. The shit takes too long. You know, it has not caught up with the fast food era. We live in a fast food era. We live in a, you know what I'm saying? That shit sped everything up, but the church ain't speed up. So they like, yo, we don't got time for church. Nobody has time for church. It's not a main part of American lifestyle anymore. It's considered draconian. Takes too long. Right? The book suggests that the defining problem driving out most people who leave is just how American life works in the 21st century. Contemporary America simply isn't set up to promote mutuality, care, or common life. Rather, it is designed to maximize individual accomplishments as defined by professionals and financial success. Such a system leaves precious little time or energy for forms of community that don't contribute to one's main professional life, right? So, said they needed DoorDashed. Yeah, they need that shit DoorDashed in order to keep up, right? So they like the capitalistic, individualistic pursuits of what it means to be American does not fit into the community model of what the church promotes. I could give a fuck about the congregants and what they got going on in their relationship with Christ, nigga, if I'm over here cashing these checks. And I'm attributing it to my personal relationship with Jesus, not my congregation relationship, even though we are dick measuring by looking to see who tithes what, right? So that's the metric that you like, damn, are you fucked up? You got enough to give? How much you giving? So the largest that one distributes or contributes to the church is your flex. But you're not sharing your blessings that you receive with the rest of the congregation because you've been taught and told, especially in this post-fast food or past, independent era that we live in this country, that it's more about the individual and not about community, right? There's nothing that we do that reinforces community in this country anymore. Everything is about the individual, right? The independent. So this is what I was speaking about earlier, that which religion is stronger? Is it the monotheistic Abrahamic religions or it is Americanism? Because you have to break yourself when you get here, right? You are going to conform to what this shit is. This shit is not going to conform to your shit. No time ever. It's just not happening. And this ain't a Christian country. And the founding fathers told you that. Read more. Right? Fuck the shit that they keep telling us in school. Read it from the mouths of them themselves. This is not a Christian country. Nor has it ever been. Nor will it ever be. So where does that leave Christians at? Right? Then watching Christianity die in America. Right? And being supplanted by Americanism. Feel me? Christianity's growing in Africa, not in America. That's where it has its last legs. Do the research, do the knowledge. I'm not making none of this shit up. Right? But I have run my course because I've been running my mouth for a few hours and I gotta feed my baby. So I do appreciate your time and your attention and your focus, and hopefully this spawns some ideas that we can further discuss and we can act upon in real time. I want to have a full-fledged panel discussions about aliens, extraterrestrials, interterrestrials. You know what I'm saying? I want to do that. I want to put this open call out. I want to be on the panel. I don't have to lead the panel. I just want to contribute what I know, not what I think, what I know, my experiences, what I've been through. Feel me? What the fuck was communicated and told to me that I need to relate to y'all so we can have real conversations, so we can have some real interaction at some point so we could get some real leverage. Because if the big homies come and they level us up, right? And they give us the motherfucking advantage, right? What would you do with that power? If you could show up with the whole Galactic Confederation and run down on your ops, right? What would you tell them to break themselves off of? You gonna ask for a state back? You gonna ask for some money? You gonna ask for an apology? You gonna want them to kiss your shoe like, show enough, nigga? What is it gonna be? How would you properly integrate yourselves with this level of power if it introduced itself to you? Like, yo, we the Galactic Confederation. We like what y'all niggas over here is doing. We want to fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Pull up. How would you flex that power? How would you flex that connection? If you showed up with one of them as a passenger, you know what I'm saying? And your drop top Wraith, where you willing to take this shit? You just trying to get some Barbie points, knock down some Barbies, niggas. That's your flex. That's all you trying to do? You trying to cause riots so you can go on ice tray and shit like that and snatch some jewelry, get you some Cuban chokers iced out? What you trying to do, nigga? What's your leverage here? What are you looking for? What are you looking for? How would you make the earth a better place? Right? How would you assert yourself if you had this power or you had the keys to this shit? I want to know. Yeah, I want to speak to the youngins specifically. I want to see where their heads are at as it pertains to expansive conversations such as this. Right? Shout out to my homegirl Rhonda tapping in the building. Right? She has also had plenty of encounters, and we acknowledge them as the Star Nation. Shout out to Ross Ben as well. And the responsible dialogue and conversations that we used to do a lecture series in 2015, I think it was, 2016, where we attempted to have these conversations about, ethical interactions with the Star Nation. They all don't have to land here and physically make themselves known to make communications happen, right? They are in communication with a lot of us. And there has been a lot of downloads. There has been a lot of instructions. There has been a lot of enlightenment, right? Oh, peace, Primo. Right? And ironically, that's Rhonda's daughter's name, Prima, born on April 4th. She's a 4/4 resonator too. So, these things coincide. There's alignment. We can see it. And these are, again, very serious conversations. I might be lighthearted and making jokes and comedic with you this afternoon. But, I belong to a community of people who have had very real interactions, very real contacts. This is not a joke for us. We know this is real. We know that there is a very, very deep rabbit hole that goes along with this reality. The implications of this shit are profound. It's beyond the type that we can grasp just with, where we're at. Jumping from Lizzo to this is like one hell of a jump. It's one hell of a jump. You know what I'm saying? And we are inundated in this time with idiocracy. We live in idiocracy era in this plane of existence, in this planet, where, where your next commander-in-chief is up with 54 felony indictments. 54 charged felony indictments for ex-president. You know what I'm saying? And this nigga's still on the campaign. What season of what season of nigga-dome is this that we in? Because if this ain't a nigga, I don't know, then we're missing the whole concept of what niggerin' is. This is a nigger. This is a nigger. You feel me? This is the nigga who we aspired to be 50 years in hip hop. He was the most aspirational symbol and image of what we were aspiring to as a people, and the cutthroat ethos that we got as a culture. You know, what amounts to be 48 laws of power, shit like that. That Romanistic approach towards capitalism. It was taught to us by Donald Trump, Michael Milken, right? Warren Buffett and his boring ass. Bill Gates, ironically. You know what I'm saying? And his supervillain ass. You feel me? But Donald Trump was the epitome of what we aspired to in hip hop, to be a greasy billionaire and do things their way and you know what I'm saying? Maintain some level of gangster. It was Donald Trump. So it's so funny in year 50, we see so many things coming full circle. Vince McMahon, Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, right? All fighting for their lives under indictment. All being accused of being common criminals. How? Wow. How the tables have turned and the mighty have fallen. Right? So in the midst of this reality show called Idiocracy that we are all participating in, there's some real dialogue taking place. There's some real conversation with real ramifications. You know what I mean? And there are good Americans who are putting their lives on the lines and their necks on the lines to tell you something that should be eye-opening, you know, that we should be gathered around our kitchen tables, you know, speaking like how families used to speak about, yo, well, what are the ramifications of this? How is this going to change things? How is this going to affect things? You know what I'm saying? If they're holding this back from us, what else are they holding back from us? What else have they not told us? Right? What other truths have they determined you're not ready for? Because to deprive you of light is to deprive you of the opportunity for you to grow from a soul place. It's robbing you of the opportunity for you to upgrade your reality, which is holding back the planet from upgrading its reality, from moving into a particular dimensionality, and that's holding back the galaxy. And these people are complicit in that, and they're telling you that they've been complicit since the 40s. Let alone what the fuck they got underneath the Vatican for 53 miles that are all on paper dealing with knowledge and light and information and intelligence. So the Vatican is willingly holding back 53 miles of light from you that can speak directly to your DNA to help you grow up, upgrade, change your life, change your direction, break out of the mundaneness of just regular humanity and shit. You could start flying if you knew that you could fly. Right? That's too much cataloged information that existed before the church. There was evidence of light existing on this planet, which is intelligence. What deity was relaying this information and this light to these individuals for them to transcribe it? And how long was these niggas writing? Because they telling you the printing press and all that shit came out in 1441. And, oh, we was just writing since cuneiform. That's a lot of fucking books to fill up 53 miles, my nigga. Somebody's not telling the truth. And they telling you the Bible was the first complete book. Where did these niggas get artifacts to hide that make up 53 miles, my nigga? I just want you to ask the regular questions. The regular questions. Then we could get to the complex ones. But we're not dealing with the mundane shit yet. So, yeah, that's my piece for today, man. Like I said, I appreciate the time, the attention, the feedback, the excitement, the engagement. And hopefully we can have a panel discussion with some people that could bring us some real information to spark our imagination, you know what I'm saying? and we can dream in more definitive colors. You feel me? We could dream in more definitive colors because your imagination is what's going to get you out of here. Your imagination is what you got locked in, what has you locked in here, into a box. You know what I'm saying? Your inability to think outside of the parameters of a box that has been designed specifically for you, right? Has you on light cold lockdown. Nothing external to you. We were fed lies and we feasted on them. We had a healthy diet, an unhealthy diet of feasting on them for plenty of years, and that shit clogged up our arteries. You know, it's time to detox. It's time to get free. It's time to open up our minds, you know, and allow this light to flow in. You know what I'm saying? Ye are gods. And that's what you're going to come into contact with at hyperspeed. But that comes with, you know, guarding is it's an action verb. It comes with action, it comes with activity. You know what I'm saying? You got work to do. Don't be scared. You know, all work is rewarding. Feel me? Peace. Shit, they didn't want to let me cut it. Peace, y'all.